Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Hagan, and I am the Assistant Director of Admissions for transfer students. And today on our Panther chat, we have Dr. Melissa Diebel. She is a professor of education, but she is also the chair of the education program. And she is very excited to talk to you all about the program, all of the requirements, and just to kind of let you all know what to expect if you are interested in this field. And without further ado, I'll let her start.
Hi, everyone. As Lauren said, I'm Dr. Melissa Diebel. I have been in education this is my 15th year. And so I taught middle school for 9 years, and then I was at the high school level. I've been in community colleges, private schools, public schools, all over the place. So I feel like I bring a diversity of experiences. And I think what led me to education was just wanting to impact people's lives. Middle school was the absolute worst time for me. And so I decided that I wanted to be a middle school teacher because I wanted to be able to maybe be a positive space for people to be in while they're going through really tough transitions. So that's what led me to education originally. And then what led me to KWC was I had taught high school for a number of years, and I liked that I impacted my own classroom, but I really wanted to work with pre-service teachers so that I could impact many classrooms and be able to get people thinking about that stuff. And KWC, I liked that it was a smaller school and that it gave me the opportunity to involve my family and to make friends with people, and just the smaller community is what I wanted. I had come from a larger university, and I liked the idea of being in a smaller space where I would know everybody and I'd know all my students. And so that's kind of what led me to that. As far as classes and things that you'll do while in our program, when you first come in, you'll take introductory courses. So Intro to Ed, Foundations of Ed, and then Exceptional Children. These three courses are kind of the foundation of everything that we do. You get to explore many different facets of education. You go into classrooms, you decide what grade level you think you want to work in, what subjects you're most interested in, and if there's any special certificates you want to work on. You kind of start to begin to set your goals and your philosophy and those sorts of things. When you reach sophomore status, then you apply for the program. And while in the program, or when you apply, there are several different steps that you go through. One is taking the Praxis case test. We have different opportunities on campus to help with that. So we partner with Student Success, and then we have people that will work with you on those tests. You'll go through then our professional program, which includes things like educational psychology and foundations of reading and just different things to prepare you for the classroom. And then you will apply for student teaching, and then you will student teach. Our student teaching experience is 70 days, and you're in either Davis County Public Schools or Owensboro Public Schools. And you work alongside really fabulous mentor teachers that a lot of them are alumni from KWC, because we are very proud of our education program and the fact that they've been able to give back through mentorship. Also, while you're working in our classroom, or while you're working in our classrooms, you will be going into the public schools and doing observations and assisting teachers and working with students. So you get 200 hours of field experience before you student teach. So you get a wide variety of opportunities to just kind of see how you fit and how that all ties together. So.
Thank you. Yes. So a question I have is, you said that you've been to and you've worked at larger universities, and then you came here and things were very different in a good way. What do you think makes KWC a little more unique than those larger places? I know you mentioned you are closer with your students and get to know everybody, but is there anything else that helps with that?
I think that university I came from, it was very regimented. So all of the classes were taught in a similar fashion. The same books are used. I think here because we're smaller, we can really tailor classrooms and instruction and curriculum to fit the students in our classroom. So if someone has something that interests them, we can, dive into that in class a little bit. Whereas I think in the bigger school, I felt very constrained to a certain type of curriculum. My students contact me frequently. So in the summer, I've had a lot of questions with everything going on with COVID, how things will be handled. And also during the school year, things with, I don't understand this part of financial aid, or I don't understand this. And what's nice is I have a relationship with them where they can come and ask me these things. So in larger programs, you don't necessarily have access to the chair of an education department, and you don't have access to the professors really outside of their hours. And I think here, all of us, we've all worked all summer on different things. I think that it's a nice thing because it's more tailored, it's more individualized. And so if someone needs something, they know they can come to us. And if we don't know the answer, we're going to help them. But also, I think if we feel like we need to make changes, we can make changes. So if something's not working in one of our classes, we can change that, as opposed to having to go to a department and get approval and get everybody on board. So I think because of that, we are able to really fit the needs of our students presently, rather than waiting until we get to a place where we have all this approval.
Great, thank you. Another question. So you mentioned if students wanted to get certain certificates in different areas, could you maybe touch on a little bit about what those certificates are, and also the different levels of education that students can choose to focus in on? I'm sure a lot of them no elementary, secondary, things like that. But could you explain that just a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, so we have elementary, which is P5, middle grades, which is 5-9, and then secondary, which is 8-12. But then we also have P12 programs in art, music, PE and health, and special education. So you can decide to do special education elementary. You can also decide to do special education in middle school. When you're in elementary, you're kind of trained in all areas. So you will take classes in all disciplines. In middle school, you will hone in on two. So you'll choose two. I chose language arts and social studies. And in secondary, you choose one. Secondary is a lot like working on a degree in that field. So you will get your math degree with education. You do less with the smaller certificates. And then our P12 programs, they are, I guess, tailor-made to those certain disciplines. And what's nice is in all of our programs, we coordinate with the experts in those fields. So they help shape the program. So it's not just education saying, hey, I think you need this. If you are going to be a biology person, then we have the biology department weigh in on what that program looks like and help develop that. So those are kind of, I guess, all of our programs.
Great. And you also mentioned all the observation hours, and of course student teaching. That's a given for anyone that wants to go into education. Do you feel like once students have graduated from this program, they have all this experience under their belt, obviously a lot of guidance and support, do you feel like they're very well prepared when they get out there? Do you hear from students that say they just can't find a job, anything like that? Or is it more you're pretty much going to find the place that you need from being in this program and meeting all of these people?
So our student teachers, since I've been here, I took over the program a year ago. and I've been here for 2 years. Our student teachers, we have 100% success rate as far as placement in jobs. All of our teachers typically actually have a job before they graduate. So, and I've already been contacted this summer with, here are openings. Do we have anybody that can fit them? And unfortunately, all of my teachers are already placed. So I can tell them who's coming up, who's student teaching this year. But I think it speaks volumes that our teachers are sought out and that they want them to be hired. Like I said, I've already got principals asking about students that are student teaching in the fall and spring of this coming school year, and they haven't even student taught yet, just because they know the caliber of our program. So I think that, and our student teachers, I'm very receptive to feedback. So they will share with me things that they think we could do to grow or change. And I'm very open to us being able to do those sorts of things to make sure that we are connecting with what is necessary once they get in the field. We also have partnerships with the school districts. So they share with us if they notice that there are areas that our student teachers could be developed or things we could add to our courses. Our adjuncts are all teachers within those districts, and so they're able to give us feedback as well. So I think that we're able to prepare people because we communicate a lot with people, but then also I think our reputation is pretty solid, and our teachers, like I said, they almost always have jobs way before they're even done student teaching, just because they're highly sought after.
Great. I love to hear that kind of thing. Makes me proud to work here. Um, okay, great. So you mentioned earlier about the praxis, and again, I'm sure folks who are interested in education know a little bit about it. What advice would you give someone who is about to take the praxis for the first time, or even going to have to take another section of it again because maybe they didn't do so well the first time? What advice would you give them if they're nervous? I know I've talked with students before that this is the end all be all for them, and they are afraid that if they just don't pass this, what are they going to do? What would you tell them?
I think that most of the students that we have actually do better on the praxis than they expect. I had a nervous phone call last week with a student who was like, I'm not going to do well in reading. I'm not good with big words. I don't read very fast. And she was very nervous. And so we chatted. I mean, so that's the difference too, I guess, between our school and other places. You're nervous, you can call me, or you can text me. And the fact of the matter is that she actually scored off the charts. She did really well. We have in our Ed 100 class built in a practice, I guess. They can, students when in that course can take 3 practice math, practice reading, and practice writing. We also, like I said, partner with student success. I had somebody who, prior to me being here, really struggled in writing, and we were able to partner with 4 different people, 2 English professors and 2 people from student success, and really work with him on his writing. And then within our teacher ed department, we have different people that can help with different skill sets, and they're using their background. But initially I tell them it's just like the ACT or the SAT, in the sense that you're going to feel nervous about it. But I try my best to be reassuring. I think the practice, also Khan Academy has free resources that students can use. And then Praxis has their own stuff that you can use. And then we have a teacher ed resource room that has some books that they can check out to do some practice tests. And as I tell them, I really think that the biggest thing is just looking at the things you're missing and then assessing if you have common mistakes, fixing those. But I really think once they do a few practices and they get some feedback, I think that they tend to do pretty well on them.
Great, thank you. And typically, do you see students completing this degree in 4 years usually? And with transfer students, is it a little different for them? Obviously, they're coming in with credits from other places, maybe multiple places. So what does it look like between a freshman and a transfer student? What's the big difference that you see?
So most of our freshmen come in and complete within 4 years, as long as everything goes to plan and you pass all your classes and we don't run into any bumps. I will say that like elementary special education has a lot more hours because you're getting your elementary degree and you're adding a certificate. So the added certificate is 21 hours. The same thing happens with PE and health. You can get just your PE degree. And but if you add health, you're adding an additional 21 hours. So there are some where you're adding hours just because you're adding a certificate. So occasionally that extends things a little bit. If you're willing to do summer courses, it's usually not a problem to get that to fit with one of the extra certificates. With transfer students, the way it's traditionally worked is that your freshman year, you take those foundational courses, and then you would take your praxis and that sort of stuff, and then you would apply to the program sophomore year. When you come in as a transfer student, if you have 1 year under your belt, it's a little easier because typically our program still takes 3 years. But if you're coming in as a transfer student and you want to do 2 years of gen eds, what I would suggest is that you contact us and we can suggest classes that you can take that would count towards our program, because there are some gen eds that also count towards degree fulfilling classes for our degree programs, but our degree programs are specific. So for example, if you just take any political science class, you wouldn't necessarily get credit, but if you took American government, you would. So if you have to fulfill that obligation at another school and you know that ahead of time, we can kind of plan that out. If you've already taken the classes and you're transferring over, I am working on a pathway where we would offer some more courses in the summer. But as I've told everyone, we're probably looking at 3 years anyway, even 2.5. If you take some summer courses, like I said, it kind of eases that. But for the most part, in order to get the foundational courses in, we have about 2 years of professional courses, and then we have the student teaching. And things like Ed 100 is an introduction to education at Kentucky Wesleyan College. So you can't take that somewhere else. You have to take that here. So there are just some things that make it a little tricky, but I am working on that. That's one of my goals, is to look at how we can do that. So the biggest thing I would say is if there's a transfer student that's considering it, if they are within a year, if they've only done 1 year, maybe reach out to me and let me know what degree that they want, so we can look and see if it would be better for them to go ahead and finish their associates, or if it would be better for them to come over. And each circumstance is totally different. It depends on what degree you want, and it depends on your goals. I never want people to choose an area of education because of timing. I don't want them to say, well, I can get this degree done the quickest, because you are making a lifetime decision as to what age group you're going to work with. So if you really want to work with little kids, but you can get high school done quicker, that's not a reason to choose high school. So I would say with transfer students, and I've talked to several this summer, all of them had different scenarios that work out for them. And so it's best just to contact me, and if you can send your transcripts or let me know what your goals are, then I can kind of tailor make a plan and talk to you about what that looks like for education. And then the other thing is to take the praxis prior to transferring over, because if we already have that test done and you've passed all 3 sections, that's typically good. What I talked to somebody earlier, they had done 1 year, and I said, if you take the praxis, if you're successful, now they haven't had all of our prep work in our courses, so they would be taking it in a different circumstance. So if they take that and they don't do well, they can always do another year of their community college or other situation while they take it again, or they can transfer in and we can start working towards passing the test here. But that would be a huge advantage, is to have those tests already taken when you transfer in. So does that make sense?
Yes. Great. So is there anything else you want to add? Anything maybe we left out that you thought of?
Well, I think I'm just going to throw out a little bit that My the teacher department is absolutely fabulous. I've got really great people that I work with. Tina, our administrative assistant, is someone that you would know no matter what area you choose, because she keeps the whole show running. And she is literally my brain and has to constantly help keep me focused. We have Dr. Michael Nelson is elementary, and he was advisor of the year this year because he's fabulous and he's great at helping students kind of work out their pathways and what they want to do. Dr. Leah Hoover has been with the program for years. She has set the foundation and really worked on creating a program that we could build on this summer. And she bends over backwards for students if they contact her. I mean, she is the email queen. She gets back to you quicker than anyone I know. And then Dr. Christina Crampy, who has worked on, works with our special ed students. She does an amazing job of being very meticulous and organized. And if you need to know what a praxis score is for this, she's the one with the answers. So I just think that we have a really fabulous team that all bring different gifts and talents to the program that make it a really awesome experience. And I think because we have different personalities and offer different things, that it allows students to really connect with different people. So if you're not super outgoing, you know, likes to talk to a bunch of people, you might find one of us to be a little quieter, and, you know, you might find peace just sitting in our office. So I just think that that is awesome that we have a really great team here. And then we also have a room, what we call room 20, which is our teacher resource center. And that has a table, it has the refrigerator, the microwave. I mean, we like our students to be around us. So we try to create spaces that allow them to do that. So I guess if I'm going to throw in some extras, those are kind of the extras.
Great, thank you. That's very helpful. And I can attest to that. You all are great people and super friendly and super helpful. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and wrap everything up. Thank you very much, Dr. Diebel, for joining us with this Panther Chat. And thank you to everybody watching for joining us also. Make sure to check back here each week, each Tuesday and Thursday this summer, and we're going to let you all know about more things at KWC. Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Bye.